Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1957. Be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in beautiful sunny Palm Beach, Florida, with a very special guest by the name of Scott Shrader. Scott, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have any gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
I am. Thank you, Mark.
Good to have you here. Now, before I give you a proper introduction and we talk about this wonderful event that you put on, what's one little thing that maybe most people don't know about you, Scott?
Well, most people don't know that prior to this, I had no experience in the car world.
Okay.
Other than loving and owning sports cars.
Yeah.
And I also had zero experience in event planning of any type prior to running my first Palm event.
So that means you're a guy that likes to try new things, do new things, which is wonderful. That's what life's all about, stepping into the world of the unknown and pushing your parameters. Daring to fail, as they say. So I think that's a good thing, don't you?
Yeah, I think it was. And I actually think that being a novice, I think it really helped tremendously in what we were doing.
Well, let me give you a proper introduction, and we're going to talk about this wonderful event. Scott Shrader is the owner of the Palm event that takes place March 18th through the 20th in 2022 at the Mar-A-Lago Club in Palm Beach, Florida. It's a weekend celebration of motorsports where guests enjoy amazing automobiles, gourmet food, fine wine, and breathtaking fashion. Plus, they have a rally as well, all while raising money for a worthy cause. Scott is a certified financial planner at Vault Wealth Management, whose passion for finance also includes automobiles. They are two elements that have intersected in his life. He was introduced to the investment world after purchasing a Porsche 944 when he was just 18 years old. Scott's father had a friend who was both a financial advisor and loved working on old cars. So there you go. That meeting set a course to study finance in college and then on to his career in financial planning and management. We'll be back in just a minute, but first a word from our valued sponsor. So give them a little listen. We'll be right back. Having fun in Florida. I love Covercraft's new 5-layer all-climate cover. It was developed and engineered for anything Mother Nature can throw our way. It's very soft, breathable, and easy to store and pampers your paint and interior surfaces, providing maximum UV, rain, dust, and snow protection. Add their gust guards for windy conditions for extra protection. Their 5-layer all-climate cover is custom-tailored with Covercraft's attention to detail, form and fit with a quality and attention that's been their standard since 1965. Covercraft protects cars, trucks, motorcycles, RVs, trailers, and watercraft too. Every one of my vehicles is protected by a Covercraft cover. And I have a deal for you. Use the code YEAH21 at covercraft.com and you'll get 10% off your Covercraft order plus free shipping. That's right, 10% off and free shipping. Just type in the word YEAH, Y-E-A-H, 21 at checkout, YEAH21 at covercraft.com. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. Most people don't think about their collector car insurance until their annual premium becomes due. Well, why wait and see if there are better options for your beloved rides? I didn't. Did you know if you change carriers before your policy runs out, your insurance company has to refund you the unearned portion of your policy premium? I did my homework, I shopped around, and I found American Collectors Insurance. And that's who protects my Porsche Turbo. That's right, the one I call my Orange Crush. They've been protecting collector vehicles since 1976. I encourage you to call my friends at American Collectors Insurance. Ask them about their agreed value policy. And if your collector vehicle is on your regular auto policy, you will be shocked at the savings, not to mention the assurance, should something bad happen to your ride, that you'll get what your vehicle is actually worth. Give them a call today for a quote at 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. Tell them you're a friend of Mark Green at Cars Yeah, American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. Automotive enthusiasts just like you and me. That's American Collectors Insurance. Give them a call today. So, Scott, we're back. So let's start by talking about how you got here, okay? Because you mentioned in the beginning that you had no experience in running events, but you took on an event that was already in existence, ended up owning it. How did that all happen?
Well, again, it's just it's one of those things that I think was meant to happen. I just happened to meet a guy at an event. He started telling me about, this event that he had. It was going to be the first year, wanted to have me involved, et cetera, et cetera. And as we got to speaking, turned out he was from Pennsylvania, which I was from as well, but he was from State College where I went to school. Now, this was a Rolls-Royce event. We were the only two guys with Porsches there. I said, when I was in college, I had a 944 up there, and someone left a note on my car. Saying, do you want to join the Porsche Club?
Yeah.
But, I just ignored it and probably threw it away and never thought about it again. Mm-hmm. And then he said, what year was this? And I went over that. And he said, that was most likely me. It was like I used to go around at Penn State and put notes on any Porsche that I saw to join the club. So one thing led to another. I was a guest the first year. The second year when it was just one of the most fabulous events I'd ever attended. And I was, a little blown away and humbled at where I was and all of this kind of stuff. And, the second year I ran the rally, which has become, again, with no experience whatsoever, but that has become, a special, place in my heart for the event overall.
Yeah, driving cars. And, yeah.
At the end of the second year, I just, he was moving and asked me if I wanted to become a partner, and I ended up taking over the event. And, everybody plays their role, and certainly I would not have been the visionary to start the event, but I wouldn't let it end at the same time. So, like I said before, I think being a novice actually helped the show, because I didn't realize which rules I was breaking. I just didn't know any better.
You just tried some things. Well, let's talk a little bit about this event, because it takes place at Mar-A-Lago Club, which is a beautiful venue. I've been there before. I attended an event there that was part of the Cavallino weekend. In fact, that's where I got to meet President Donald Trump long before he was president. It was a really nice conversation with the man talking about his passion for cars. And I remember he even made a joke about it. I hope none of these cars are leaking oil on my grass, which I thought was pretty funny. I know that you've met him and talked to him, because it takes place at his place there in West Palm Beach, and it's just an incredible venue for a car event. So let's talk about all the different aspects of this, because it's not just one day, it's a 3-day event, right?
Yeah, it is a 3-day weekend. It's really centered around celebrating the Palm Beach lifestyle. So we're trying to mix, the food, the great wine, fashion, live entertainment. We really just want people to come out, enjoy each other socially, and have these amazing cars as almost the backdrop. One journalist, which was really made me feel good, I guess, said that the show was bringing a taste of Monterey to Palm Beach.
Whoa, well, there's a compliment. And, yeah.
So I guess in a sense, that's what we're trying to do. We're really trying to create that lifestyle type event centered around automobiles.
Well, and the it's not a fantasy, but the fantasy for those of us who aren't there of Palm Beach lifestyle, beautiful setting, beautiful automobiles, the environment's wonderful, it's warm, and of course, the time of year your event takes place, much of the country is freezing cold, or where I live, it's raining, or whatever. So the idea of going there during that time is a nice concept, that's for sure. And we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but I just want to touch on the fact that you raised money for the Place of Hope. But let's keep that thought in mind, because I want to come back to that, why you do that, what that is all about. Tell us, starting with, there's going to be a VIP welcome dinner type party the first night. So walk us through the days and what we can expect to see at your event.
Sure. Friday is, it's not necessarily a dinner. It's more of a VIP party. We generally have it on or near Worth Avenue in Palm Beach, which is, a historic trip. This year, we're really working on having it themed around, the yacht lifestyle. So we haven't announced exactly where that's going to be yet. We have been to this place in the past, but, it's going to be It's going to be just a nice place. We have, cars out front and center. We have our sponsors there, and then we have wine, hors d'oeuvres, and it's really just a fun evening.
Nice. Cool. I remember I was at the Cavallino event many times. They would do what's called a yacht hop. And you would go out and they had all these incredible boats lined up, starting with some Hinckleys, which if anyone knows boats, I mean, they're just marvelous. They're not yachts, but they're beautiful boats. They're very expensive boats. If I was going to buy a boat, that would be the one I would buy. All the way up to 300-foot plus mega yachts. And they had food served on each of them. And you kept going. They kept getting bigger and bigger as you go through. Is your event going to be something maybe like that, or am I letting out too much out of the bag here?
It may be very, very much like that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that was cool. That was very cool because I'd never been to something like that, and learning about those yachts and talking to the people that service them or to the crew and what it takes to operate those things, and then walking through them, of course, is just fantasy land. Oh my gosh. Yeah. How the other half live. For sure. So keep going.
Yeah. Well, Saturday is what we call the Vintage Rally. And again, that has a special place in my heart. And again, I didn't realize what rules I was breaking, et cetera. So it's kind of like a competitive or a gimmick rally where you have clues that you have to do and directions that you have to take, and it's like not similar to like a scavenger hunt type thing.
Yeah.
With the exception is we made it a little easier, so there's a little less clues, but a lot more social. Oh, so fun. As you go, there's two things. The first we want to emphasize is the history of Palm Beach. We usually stop at some historical places like the Ann Norton Sculpture Garden, Society of the Four Arts, places like that. We start or ended on a yacht, or on a mansion or on an oceanside, resort or something of that nature. But in addition to getting points for these clues, you also get points for interacting with other members of the rally. So you have to find out like what everybody's first car was, something special about them. So it's kind of a combination where we're trying to force people to interact and socialize while at the same time learning at Palm Beach, enjoying the scenes, and having fun while you're driving.
How cool is that? I love it. And then what's next?
Next is Sunday, which of course is the main event. It's the it's the big show. And like I said, I've taken a lot of flack over the year for violating basic rules of car shows. We don't have classes. We don't have a featured mark. And a lot of times your veteran car guys don't understand that. It's very hard, when someone calls with, say, like a 1941 Buick asking what class I'm going to be in, to say, well, we don't really have classes.
Yeah, like what?
Our field looks very haphazard. There's cars everywhere and they don't always match up, but it's anything but that. It's actually very well planned. We know which cars are going to go where, but the idea of the whole event is to be social. So I don't want the Corvette guys here in this corner, the Ferrari guys here, the supercars here. I want the kid interested in the latest hypercar to have to walk next to the vintage Bugatti to get to it.
Oh, I see your point. Okay, a little bit of forced integration there.
Yeah, the kid looking at the Enzo has to pass the 1941 Lincoln. It also causes people that would never interact to, have to interact. A lot of the collectors who wouldn't interact with each other to be kind of forced to interact and to really appreciate each other's cars. Imagine like an award-winning last show, a Citroen and a Bugatti, both very historic cars, parked right next to an Apollo and a Ferrari SP1.
Wow. Okay.
So a lot of times these guys won't ever run into each other because they do different shows, but we all at the heart, we all are, car aficionados, and it's really good to be able to see everybody interact and appreciate cars that you otherwise wouldn't see.
How many cars will you be having at your event this year? No, next year, I should say. Yeah, that's right. We're almost done with this year.
We generally have about 100. Mm-hmm. We have talked, and I think we're going to do it this year. We were unable to do it when Mr. Trump was in office because of the landing pad for the helicopter, but we think we're going to be able to expand there and give some of the car clubs some room that drive their cars to the show to be able to park.
Oh, I see. Oh, very cool.
So we probably will be expanding over there.
Nice. Very nice.
The other thing is like all of our food and everything, is served outdoors. So we have to rent the ballroom, which is beautiful, but we don't actually use it.
Oh, goodness. Maybe you should park some cars in there.
Yeah. Oh, talk about oil draining on grass.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's quite a ballroom, too. I've been in there. It's incredible. Again,
the same thing. We just want, and we have, this worked out for COVID times, is we also space the tables out evenly throughout the show because we don't want people parking in one area and staying there all day. So we want people to be able to take a few steps, appreciate some cars. There's a food station there, sit down, grab a quick bite, and move on. The same with the sponsor tent, like sponsor areas. That's my biggest pet peeve of shows. Mm-hmm. When I see the sponsor tents all in one area with like an information table, and you have to actually approach them, and it separates them. We like to kind of intertwine them unnoticeably into the show.
Nice.
And our request is that they deliver an experience or have a lounge to eliminate like the adversarial approach, with between sponsors and guests. So we want it to be a comfortable atmosphere, and we wanted them to blend right into the show where people don't even really, it's indistinguishable from, just from another area to go. So we want it to be a fun experience, a fun day outside, enjoying Palm Beach with world-class sports cars as the backdrop.
Has there been somebody that's been an influence for you on this show and how you've developed it over time? Some type of a mentor or a helpful person?
Absolutely. A lot of people have mentors like, celebrity mentors, Steve Jobs or whatever. I've always looked up to John Barnes.
From the
Cavallino.
It's on the Cavallino, yeah.
Yeah, he has one of my favorite shows, and everything that he does just seems to be done with class and elegance. And, I really look up to him. And even though, he does have a Sunday event at Mar-A-Lago, our events could not be more different. His is, a much, very formal event, amazing cars, amazing food. Ours is just a totally different, different type of event.
John and Alicia have always been awesome hosts, and the times that I visited their event at Cavallino, at the Breakers, and of course there at Mar-a-Lago, and out at the racetrack. I mean, they put on a wonderful event, and just always so gracious and kind and super class acts.
That's what I'll always remember about him. I mean, it took me aback just by how kind they were to me, especially in my early years when, I really didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But
yeah. Very
another
helpful.
Another guy that I'm really starting to look up to, which is recent, is Tom O'Riordan. And he's the president of the Ferrari Club of Naples. And mm-hmm. I don't know him super well, but I just had a chance to work with him on the Ferrari Club annual experience in Sebring. And just a wealth of knowledge that he has and the leadership that it took. The original experience was set to take place in Oregon in July. Mm. And they canceled it about a month prior. And Tom, decided we were going to do it in Sebring. And it usually takes 2 years, and we did it in less than 6 months. And the way that they put it together just blew me. And I kind of just look up to people who I think do things very, very well and in a very ethical way. So that's kind of why I look up to those two guys.
Very nice. Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a short break. We come back. I want to talk about perhaps a big challenge when it comes to putting on these kinds of events. No challenges at all, sure. I'm sure. So we'll be right back. I've discovered Linkage. It's a new quarterly publication and website that covers the automotive market, driving, restoring, collecting, and discovering your passion for motor vehicles. Linkage is about experiences, opinions, and values. Linkage is an actual informed, reasoned opinion based on first-hand experiences. A talented Linkage team covers the automotive world, the people who share your passion and mine, smart, considered, rational, and experienced opinions, ones you can learn from and grow. That includes our passion that drives auctions and the collector car market. So come with me and join us on this journey And be sure to use the code CARS yeah when you subscribe, and they'll give you $10 off. Boom! Linkage, geared for the automotive life. Subscribe today at linkagemag.com. I'm honored to say that my charity of choice here at Cars Yeah is Tech Force Foundation. They help young people find an education and career that aligns with their passions. For those who love cars, problem solving, and working with their hands, a career as a professional automotive technician is the perfect fit for a fulfilling life. We're all wired differently, and not every successful career demands a 4-year university. Technical education and the skilled trades matter, and we need qualified, skilled technicians to keep our vehicles rolling. Learn more about how you can support tomorrow's driving force and workforce of technicians at techforce.org, like I do here at Cars Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this. I mean, I look at these events, and I've been to so many events, and I really am in awe, because when they run very, very well, which most of them always do, you don't know what's going, you don't see the chaos in the background, the potential problems, all the stuff that can happen. I've had lots of directors, directors of car events on this show where we talked about the enormous amount of challenge that these things put on. Can you maybe share one situation that pushed you a little bit, but also taught you a whole lot? Because you keep talking about, I didn't know what I was doing wrong because I never done it before, so I just did stuff. Well, no doubt that probably caused a few little feathers to be ruffled here and there, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest challenge that I had was really, was keeping the Palm event alive, and then, returning it to Mar-A-Lago. Because when Trump was elected president, there was a lot of uncertainty, and the second and third years were what I consider to be dark times for the event. Not everyone else sees it that way. And I sometimes get hypercritical of myself, but I looked at it like, if you remember the phrase, there's a sucker born every minute. There was this day in July a long time ago. But I really got involved with the event because I heard that it wasn't going to last, or that it may not last if I didn't. And I just remembered what an amazing experience it had been the first year, and even the second year. So I went to our host and MC, Alex Berry, who is just spectacular. He has a permanent job as long as he accepts it. And I asked him, do you think that I could do this? And second, are you going to be on board? And I don't know if it was naivete or like nostalgia on his part, but he answered yes. And that kind of set us on the, on this wild ride that's become the Palm event. And, my first show alone was a decent success. We had some decent cars, and we established this hip kind of upbeat vibe where people were having a good time. And I think that's, that was the formula set. And then just returning to Mar-a-Lago, it really was just crazy. When we left, we lost the top of our market, both in terms of guests, sponsors, even cars, and realized we had to go back to Palm Beach, and there's only so many places that you can do it there. And the people at Mar-a-Lago were just wonderful. I never thought I'd be working with the Secret Service, and that was, I think we have the only show that's ever happened on the lawn of a sitting president with him in town. Yeah. So that just presented this whole host of challenges. For example, we were out on the field at like 5:30, 6 a.m., and the Secret Service says, "Who's in charge?" I said, I guess that would be me. And they said, "You're coming with me." And I said, "I can't. I have to stay here and get the show field set up." And they said, "Sir, if you don't come with me, there's not going to be a show field." Yes, sir.
I'll be coming with you right now. Yeah.
So I was literally sitting there working with them, like teaching them how to approach the owners about opening their cars. And, some of them are 1920s, 1930s. Some of them are $10 million or so. And how to interact with people, how to make sure that they were able to do their job and protect us all. And, they just ended up being wonderful to work with.
Oh, and, stellar group of individuals for the kinds of jobs they have to do. Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of car events go through these things, and especially when you have a combination of double changes, a new ownership and new venue, and throw a little COVID in there, throw in, a place you had it where a gentleman becomes president, and then you got to deal with that. I mean, my gosh, throw a whole bunch of dead catfish on you and say, run a show, good luck with this. But it sounds like you come back around. I think it's fantastic. If there's something that you would really love to, I ask people about a bucket list item, but I'd like to ask it differently for you here. What will make you the happiest at the end of that weekend coming up in March of next year, after your event is over in 2022?
Well, what always makes me, the happiest is that the guests have a good time, that everyone has a good time, and I'm probably my biggest critic, but I like to make sure that our sponsors enjoy themselves. Mm-hmm. We assign a board member to each sponsor to make sure that they have everything that they need. We try to make sure that it's as interactive as they can. We try to make sure that every guest is having a good time and has what they need. And just as importantly, all of our car owners, we want to make sure that they enjoy themselves, that there was nothing that they needed. So really, I just want the whole show is selfishly based around a car show that I would want to go to. So, and I don't have any.
That's a good way to do it. You're a car guy. You've been to events. That's the way to do it. And then surround yourself with great people.
And I will add my girlfriend Tara in there because she is very heavily involved, and she really added the fashion component where we have a red carpet fashion show around the pool. We have live entertainment, live music. We had a contortionist in the pool last year. So we have a lot of stuff going on, during the show. And, her goal was to make it a place that she wanted to go. So we have that aspect where we're trying to make sure that the women are entertained, the men are entertained, and just everybody has a really good day in Palm Beach. That is my ultimate goal for the show.
Well, it's a brilliant idea because most car shows are catered towards the car person, whether it's a guy or a woman, but the companion, the spouse, the friend, whatever they bring along, or a child, there's nothing for them. And so as a result, they walk around bored out of their mind and when can I leave? And the worst thing is to be somewhere with somebody who wants to leave and you don't want to leave. It's like, oh man, why did I bring that person? But I understand. I would love for you to share a special vehicle in your life. I know when I introduced you, we talked about that 944. Is that the car you'd like to talk about, or is there another one in your life?
Well, I think all of my cars are special.
Okay.
It's tough to answer.
You're a car guy.
I would say that car.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a Camaro. It was my first car, but the 944, I think because it was my first band, it really changed my life. It caused me to change my major to finance and international business.
Yeah, there's a big change. Yeah.
It caused me to develop the relationship with the Palm event that I had. It was just one of those cars that these big things that I didn't even know at the time, all of these big things happened just around me owning that car. And I remember I bought it in Western Pennsylvania. I grew up in a suburb of Pittsburgh, and everybody was buying, my friends were buying, used Cavaliers, and one of them bought a Geostorm, and I just couldn't imagine spending money on something that I wasn't passionate about.
Yeah.
And the Porsche wasn't an expensive car. I mean, I ended up paying just over 10 grand for it. Mm-hmm. And my best friend, his dad wouldn't even let me park it in the driveway.
Why is that?
It wasn't an American car. So I had to park it across the street.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Understood. Yeah. What year was that 944?
It was an 87.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, great cars. I think what a lot of people don't realize is the success those cars had on the racetrack. I mean, they were very, very successful in their category of racing. And if you've ever driven one, I remember when they came out, it was that 50-50 weight balance thing that Porsche 911s never had. They're all tail happy, tail happy. And so delightful car.
I remember showing at our rally lunch, we really try to integrate history into the entire weekend. But at our rally lunch, we were showing the Palm Beach Grand Prix because they used to run, I think it was IMSA, through the streets of West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
So we got one of those old videos and we're playing the race during our lunch. And, there was Porsche 944s in there. So I just was going back. And that's one of the things that really got my interest in sports cars. I love to see the regular street cars racing on all these major circuits and streets and everything.
Oh, yeah. They're running those cars as support races for the IMSA cars that were running back then. I'm going to be your car psychologist here today, Scott. So sit back on the couch, relax. I want you to think about this. If you were manifest as a vehicle, what would Scott be, but more importantly, why?
Well, I would like to think of myself as a beautiful Italian car.
Yeah, we all would.
I would have to say a Porsche 911.
Okay, and why is that?
And I say that because it's, I'm hardworking, versatile, consistent. It's not quite as flashy as some. Yeah. But always it's an overall, all-around top performer.
Perfect. I love it. I was interviewed on this podcast by the great racer Tommy Kendall, and he asked me that question because I asked all my guests, and that was my answer too. So I think we're both in alignment there. Now, I want to talk about helping others give back, because one of the great things about these car events, I know some people will maybe look down their nose a little bit and go, "Oh, all those fancy people with their fancy cars, I think they're so fancy." But every car event I've been to, even some Cars and Coffees, it raises money for special events, wonderful causes. Yours is the Place of Hope. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. And, Place of Hope their mission has a special place in my heart. And they're one of the top rated, largest children's charities in Florida. What they try to do is provide a home life for foster children, or, children who are separated from their parents for whatever reason. So they build little communities, where kids have, house parents or what have you. Mm-hmm. And it's just an enormous charity, and the work that they do, and just seeing some of the kids that have come out of there, and the fact that it's changing lives. It's rough being a child in an underprivileged family, and with drugs and abuse, and whatever the situation is, they try to step in and make it better. And just seeing, that's the best part, of seeing some of the older kids that have graduated and how they really had a chance in life, and how appreciative they are to the charity itself for making it happen. So
love to hear that. That's great. Is there a book you've read that you really enjoyed you'd like to share?
Well, I kind of prefer books that really open my mind to other ways of thinking, and explain things that on the surface don't make sense.
Okay. And
this probably isn't a popular choice, but I liked a book called The Selfish Gene.
Oh, okay. What's that about?
The whole premise is that every cell in your body pursues its own self-interest unless its interest is aligned with another cell. So, in other words, the cells in your feet only work with your circulation system so that they can get blood, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And slowly through the book, they apply it to almost everything in society. And it was just one of those books that just really kind of opened my eyes to things. Now, there's obviously things in the book that I don't necessarily agree with, but it was really a different way of thinking from anything I've ever read, and I really liked the flow of the book, etc.
Well, first time that book has been recommended is by author Richard Dawkins. So I'll make sure I put a link to that book for you listeners, so you can get your hands on a copy and learn a little bit in a different light like Scott did. So thanks for recommending that. I'm going to let you go on the ultimate drive. And now you mentioned you loved rallies, you love drive. So this is a fantasy. I'm going to provide you with any vehicle. You can be with any person, living or deceased, and you can be anywhere. The checkbook is wide open here, something my financial planner would tell me not to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. So he's listening now. So yeah, Chris, don't worry. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to do it for Scott today. So Scott, what does the ultimate drive look like for you?
Well, for the car, it would have to be a Lamborghini Countach.
Ooh, okay.
That was one of the first cars I remember as a kid. I remember the Transformer, that was a Countach, and I just remember seeing it and just being like, wow, taken aback.
Well, that's what Countach means. Wow. So there you go.
Well, my parents were shopping for a car at the time, and I was little, and I could not for the life of me understand why we were not at least considering a Lamborghini Countach. We ended up buying a Plymouth Voyager.
Well, not really anywhere to put you as a kid. They'd be driving off and you'd be left to the curb. So maybe that's why.
I wouldn't have cared as long as I would have got to look at it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I understand. So who would you be with?
Well, again, that's another tough one because I've had the pleasure of meeting just about everybody that I've wanted to meet in life.
Yeah.
There's a few. If we're talking driving fast, I would go with somebody local here. And again, it's going to be an eclectic choice, but Eddie Irvin, if you're listening down in Miami.
Okay.
I always liked him. He was the driver that really got me into Formula One.
Okay. There you go.
So,
yeah.
I just always liked listening to his. He was a very opinionated fella, and I liked him and Jacques Villeneuve and just some of the personalities from back during that era when I first started watching.
Yeah, he drove for a lot of cool groups, but I know he also drove for Ferrari, which is pretty neat. I think he drove for Jordan, Jaguar. I mean, kind of did a lot of different kind of driving and interesting career. I'd like to get him on the show.
If Jaguar's listening, I bought an F-Type because of him.
Well, there you go. That worked. Yeah, marketing. Yeah, endorsements. There you go. And where would you guys be driving? Where do you want to go?
I've always been attracted to water. So, and if I'm going to be with Eddie Irvin, I think I'd have to be in Monaco.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Yeah. The hills outside of Monaco. And all right, I'll do what I can do. Sorry, Chris. Going to have to extract some change out of the accounts to send him on this trip. Sounds like it's going to be an expensive drive for sure. You've taken us on a great drive, and I really want to thank you for taking time to share the Palm event with us today. A wonderful event. You can go to the website. I'll put a link, thepalmevent.com. Takes place March 18th through the 20th of next year, 2022. You can go online and get tickets. Sounds like a good getaway at the end of winter time to go warm up, be among some wonderful people, wonderful cars, and an incredible environment for sure. Before I let you go, do you have maybe words of inspiration, a success quote or a mantra you could share with us?
I guess so. I have a few of them, and they all are pretty much the same. It's like one of them was "Don't dream it, be it."
Love it.
It's a line from a song. Yeah. There was you can own everything you see, which was Pink Floyd. We'll skip the second part about selling your soul for complete control.
Yeah.
But I always give this advice to my brother, and he's come to me for career advice on a couple of occasions, and my advice is always the same, and he mocks me for it. But it's it's figure out what you want to do and do it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it sounds like that's what you did with this event. Again, listeners, you can go to Scott's show notes page here on the Cars Yeah website, Scott Shrader, SHRADER, and everything will be there, all the links, but it's easy to find online this event. The Palm Event is the place to be in March of 2022. I want to do a shout out thank you to my good friend and past Cars Yeah guest, Rich Pepe, who introduced me to Scott some time ago. So, Rich, I got him on the show. So there you go. We finally landed.
Thank you, Rich.
Yeah, finally landed this fish. He puts on a great event during Car Week. Mission Classic is a wonderful event. I think it's the only car event held at an actual mission, which is pretty darn cool. So there you go. Thanks, Rich.
It's spectacular.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I'll give a shout out to him. I mean, I really enjoyed his event because his car layout was very similar to ours.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, it's definitely a special venue. And I know he listens to Cars Yeah on his long commute back there on the East Coast. So, Rich, we're here for you, buddy. We're thinking about you. So hopefully maybe one day you'll be doing that in a Lamborghini Countach. That would be something. Maybe not the greatest commuting car. Scott, thanks for being so generous today with your time and your expertise and for sharing this wonderful event, the Palm event, with our listeners today. Until you and I talk again, I'll see you, let's say, at the Palm event. That sounds like a nice thing. There you go.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rich.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah!